Going on? Andrew coming at you, and this one I'm going to give you my election prediction for this upcoming election. Now, the reason I'm doing this one is because last election I correctly predicted Trump winning president, and I think I know what's going to happen this election. And being outside of America, I'm not getting hammered with all the political ads. I'm not getting the news thrown at me constantly, and I'm able to just look at it and know how Americans are and give you my opinion. So there's a few things different from this election compared to the last election. There's a lot less undecided voters, I would believe, because it's very clear to me on Facebook online, people are either Trump or Democrats, and everything is really, really polarized. But I think last election, you had a lot of people that were independent voters or moderate voters. Like, I would consider myself somewhere in there. I'm an independent that voted for Trump because they didn't like Hillary. She was like a very not liked president, or she was very well not liked. And so they gave Trump a chance. But now Trump has had this chance for 4 years. And so looking at that, I would say that Biden, for example, isn't a hated candidate. He's much more well liked than Hillary. So that's one example. But I'll give you my short prediction here. I think Trump is going to lose by a landslide. I think it's going to be one of the biggest defeats we've seen in a very, very long time. And I'll go into it. The last election was close, and when Trump won a lot of these states, he was close. But that was before, I thought Trump was going to win this election, but that was before coronavirus happened and the Black Lives Matter movement happened. And when coronavirus happened, there were just a few times I felt, just me, myself, and I would think it would annoy Americans, is it felt like a lot of the times he was making things political. And I think Trump made a critical error. If he would have told the American people that I don't have time to campaign, I got to sort out this stuff for coronavirus, that would really help. Number two, the divisiveness of the United States is one of the reasons it's having the worst results in coronavirus, because nobody can decide on what to do. If you wear a mask, you're a terrible person and you're weak. If you don't wear a mask, you don't care about others, but you're not a sheep, I guess. And just that alone, I do think the president had something to do with that. And so the part of the results of that happening has caused Americans they were already divided, to be more divided. He could have either encouraged people to wear a mask or not made everything so political, because come on, why does everything have to be political? The second one is the Black Lives Matter movement, which of course existed before Trump and was always there. But I think just having him in office and being so polarized, we're seeing all the riots and social unrest. And so I feel like most independent moderate voters, which are probably going to decide this election, feel like they have seen Trump and he might have done some good things for the economy. Who we can debate that if we want to debate that. Some people say the president has nothing to do with it. However, the main point I want to get across is he's lost a lot of respect for people, because, or at least the moderate voters, because they see the country in chaos. They see people upset. And yeah, you can say the media has something to do with that, but the president could try to bring people together. So just looking at this coronavirus response, and just looking at the social unrest in America, he's not going to win the moderate voter. It's just not going to happen. So where last election we were wrong and the polls were a little bit off, they were still accurate. They were just off by a couple percent. And that's why Trump won. We didn't realize at the time, I believe most of the people that voted for Trump that was uncalculated the first time were that the people that didn't have a college degree. Trump voted for Trump very, very much. It was very high. People without a college degree voted for Trump. And that was something that people didn't see. One other interesting thing I'll say about this election, which is another prediction, I think more people are going to vote in this election than possibly even the first time Barack Obama got elected. A lot of people are voting. They're not necessarily excited, but a lot of people are voting. You're going to have a lot more first-time voters. And I just feel like most first-time voters are probably going to vote for Biden, just given the situation. And I would say, most first-time voters are going to be younger people. So I think that's going to happen. But I'll give you two other predictions. I don't see Trump, and you can vote for whoever you want. I'm not going to call you a bad person for voting for Trump or what. We can debate political ideas another day. But here's my worry about this election. Whoever wins, the country's still going to be a mess in the end of it because of how polarized our country is. But I do not see Trump losing and being like okay with it and being a gentleman. Like when Barack Obama saw that his candidate didn't win and Hillary lost, he still was professional. He still shook Trump's hand. He was at the inauguration when you had the transfer of power. Do you see Trump doing that? Does anyone see Trump saying that he lost fair and square and being there and shaking Biden's hand and doing the transfer of power? I don't see that happening. I think Trump cares about Trump, and he's not going to be like a gentleman. He's not going to do what's good for that would be good for the country, right? For him to say, hey, I lost fair and square. Okay, fine. And then transfer over a power. I don't see Trump doing that. I think that Trump is too proud and too cocky that he's going to say that it was all a fraud, even though there's no evidence that that's happened on a large scale. He's going to say it's all rigged and everything else. And so what I worry about is the social unrest after the election. Is it going to be a peaceful transition of power? That's what I'm most worried about, because we have so many angry people right now. And my prediction is if Trump does that, it is going to cause, it's going to stir people up, and there's going to be more social unrest and chaos. And here's hoping that Trump can be like the bigger person, and when he loses, he just steps out of office because the people have spoken. But I will also say, if for some reason Trump wins, no doubt that there's going to be social unrest on the other side and more chaos as well. So in this case, whoever wins, America still loses in a sense in the short term. This is the first time our democracy's really been tested in a long time. And like I said, I think the majority of Americans don't want to see this chaos every 4 years, as far as people being upset at one another. And I'm hoping that when this election ends, we can stop with the divisive, angry politics. You know, so many times in the States, you watch commercials like political ads on television, and it's so much of like tearing each politician up that by the end of it, you're convinced they're both terrible people. And that's one of the reasons I think we have low voter turnout a lot of the time, is you just feel like both candidates so terrible at the end of it, and you've heard all these horrible things they've done, and you just feel depressed. So let's hope at whatever happens. Look, if Trump wins, okay, he wins fair and square, fine. Biden wins, he wins fair and square, fine. But let's see what happens in the end. Hopefully America can decide that this way of doing politics and tearing each other person up and insulting people and saying different names, like Trump didn't invent this way of politics. He's more of a consequence of this system that we've had for a while. But let's hope that Americans can wake up together and just say, this is not how we're going to do it in the future. Because it's like living in an Orwellian society when you can't debate another person because they call you all these names back and forth. Then there's no political discussion happening. So that's my opinion. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Let me know, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey,